Believer in Jesus Christ. Some of you may have heard my story before, but today I'd like to give you a little more of my story. I've had many struggles in my life, but the two that have stood the test of time are food addiction and codependency. As I look back, I can see how both of these work together to create self-doubt, self-hate, and self-resentment, shaping the way I viewed myself and the way I thought others saw me. Growing up, I was very loved by my parents. I feel like I had a normal childhood, whatever that might be. My parents provided us with everything that we needed and most of what we wanted. I remember taking family vacations, we had Sunday dinners, lots of hard work at our country home. We were loved. I am lucky enough to say that I did hear "I love you" from my parents. I know that they always have, even when I was very hard to love. However, I can remember that I actually thought that I had to earn my parents' love. I don't know how it started, but I do remember when one or both of them were upset with me for some reason, I had to do enough good to outweigh the bad. Nothing they said ever made me feel that I had to earn their love. I truly believe this was a learned behavior. I did something good, I received praise for it. I did something not so good, and I was punished. No, beaten, grounded, or they didn't take electronics away from us back then. That was not even a thing, but maybe the Atari. Seems normal, right? I took it to a personal level though. I equated their love with my actions. If I did everything they wanted and did it and do it perfectly, my life would be perfect. I mean, that seems easy enough, right? That type of thinking carried over to all of my other relationships in all stages of my life. I had to earn friends and boyfriends by things I could do for them or even say the right things. Honestly, if something ever went wrong in a relationship, it had to be my fault. What did I do to cause them to be angry at me or not want to be around me? Was it because I was overweight? Was I not good enough to be around? What did I say that was wrong? How could I have been so stupid to have done that? Or how could I have been so stupid to have said that? Those were just some of the thoughts that played over and over and over again in my mind. I needed to be wanted and needed so much that I needed that so much that I was willing to do anything necessary to hang on to absolutely any relationship that I had. I mean, how would anyone want to be friends with someone that didn't want to do everything that they wanted to do? As time progressed, I did find my voice in my friendships. I was probably in my early 30s when I started weeding out people that took complete advantage of my friendship. Those were some hard lessons learned, some very hard lessons learned. It was better to choose to be alone than to be with so-called friends and feel lonely. I finally figured out that friendships were two-way streets rather than a one-lane road. I didn't have to do everything or be everything in a friendship. A real friend would want to do things for me and with me that I also liked. That's a pretty novel idea, right? In dating, I never thought I was pretty or slim enough for someone to want to date me. My inner voice repeated ugly things to me so often that I had started believing all of it. When it came to boyfriends, I was willing to do anything to just feel loved or to be loved. Honestly, I didn't know what feeling loved or being loved really even meant. To me, love meant I was willing to be anything they needed me to be, do anything they needed me to do. Did I ever think about what I was sacrificing? No. I was sacrificing my integrity. I was sacrificing who God intended me to be. That never, ever occurred to me. Did I even know what type of relationship I wanted? Not really. I just wanted security, which turned out to be a false sense of security. I was searching for something that no person could possibly give me. Only God could give me the security that I needed. My weight fluctuated. I could never feel good about me. How could anyone want me, even if I didn't like me or like the way I looked? I had convinced myself that it was a huge factor in someone even wanting to date me. In reality, at any rate, I thought I had no value, so I had to settle for anyone that would show me attention. Boy, did that backfire. The less interest that a boyfriend would show to me, I would lose another piece of myself to do whatever they needed or whatever they wanted. It was a vicious cycle. I'd finally had enough of chasing all the wrong men when I nearly killed myself, jumping from a moving vehicle just to get away from my boyfriend that was physically abusing me. At that point, I really did believe that I deserved whatever punishment I got. Sad, but very true. I had no love for myself. I was completely broken. This all boils down to pride. I gave all the power of my happiness to other people because I was sure that I could make them happy, and which in turn would of course make me happy. Twisted? Yep. Pride tells us that we don't need to rely on anyone else, and it can also tell us that we are completely reliant on other people. I was on both spectrums. Food was always my comfort. After losing a friendship, food was my companion to soothe my brokenness. I also used food to celebrate my happiness. My food never said mean things to me. Food never complained about me. Food never twisted what I said. And food is obviously required to live, right? So we have to have it. However, I see now that the up and down cycles of my weight was a result of my lack of self-esteem and complete disbelief that I am a daughter of the Most High King. I needed to find better outlets for my emotions, and definitely better ways to have relationships, even my relationship with God. See, I knew God, but I didn't think he had much empathy for me. I figured I had blown my chance with him. I'd given him my life when I was about 10, but I did all these crazy things, bad decision after bad decision, and had all these crazy relationships, but never ever did I pursue God like I pursued other people. What should I have been pursuing? What I should have been pursuing was God, and everything else would fall into place and be perfect, right? Again, back to the perfect. Well, you see, not how that works at all. God needed me to work on me. He needed me to love myself. That was hard to do when I hated the skin that I was in. I'd lost weight before, and never cared about myself enough to keep it off. I had decided it was time to do something for me because I wanted it, not because anyone else wanted it or wanted me to do it. This time was going to be different. I rejoined Weight Watchers, now WW, late in 2010. It was amazing how even a few pounds off made me feel better about myself because I was doing it for the right reasons. I was no longer going to hide behind a fear of failing at relationships because I was overweight. Let me say, that may sound easy, and I really wish it was that easy, but it's not. Battling mindset is the hardest battle. Even in war, you can see your opponents. You know when the battle's on, your opponents are gone. However, losing weight, the mind is very tricky. Keeping negativity from seeping in is a daily battle. However, losing weight was a start to me putting me as a priority in my own life. Through CR, I was able to let go of many resentments and unforgiveness for others, as well as unforgiveness for myself. I had held mistakes that I'd made, choices that affected my life drastically, and ugly things I told myself over my own head as though I could change any of it. I worked hard on my codependency of others. During our relationship and marriage, I have found myself reacting in some of my old ways, such as saying ugly things to myself. I could see how my words about myself would stun my husband. He couldn't believe I would say those things about myself. It really didn't hit me until one day, this was several years ago, I heard one of our boys say something negative about himself. We had a rule. We implemented a new rule, saying one bad thing about yourself, you must follow it with three good things. I realized how often I was saying negative things about myself. Shortly after rejoining Weight Watchers, I met my now husband, Jeff. I admit I was skeptical that he was even going to like me. I was very overweight. I was pleasantly surprised that he liked me despite me being overweight. I was pleasantly surprised that he liked me being overweight. He didn't care. That was not a thing for him. That was not a requirement. He wanted to do things like go on actual dates. I know that sounds dumb, but it feels like that was the first time that I actually had a date that meant a date. He liked me for me. We were married in October 2011. This past year has been difficult, to say the least. Our marriage was in a place that I never dreamed it would be, and we were on the brink of ending it all. All of a sudden, my need to fix it all was more prevalent than ever. My self-doubt and self-worth were rocked. I thought I was no longer attractive or wanted by him. I felt helpless so many times, but my husband cannot give me my self-worth. He cannot control my self-doubt. I cannot expect him to sustain me. I put that on him, and that was not fair. I know how heavy this can be to weigh a person down. As a codependent, I wanted to fix what I thought was wrong. However, how could I rescue him if I was drowning right beside him? Again, my pride was trying to rear its ugly head. I cannot fix anyone else. It's not my job or my purpose. When it comes to recovery, I can only work on my struggles. I have to work on my struggles or they will consume me. Romans 12:12 says, rejoice in our confident hope, be patient in trouble, and keep on praying. No better words to live by. I never gave up praying for our marriage. Marriage is not easy, but it is worth all the effort when both people work together. We have worked very hard to stay together and connected. We spend each night reading and praying together. It's my favorite time of our evening. I know that if we had not fully relied on God, I wouldn't be standing in front of you today. No marriage is perfect. Absolutely no marriage is perfect. But having God in the center of your marriage certainly helps. Sometimes we think we are doing good. We have this recovery thing down pat. We get complacent, we check the boxes. Personally, I can get lax with myself when I don't work actively on my recovery. Probably why I've done 85 step studies. Continuously working on something is better than working on nothing at all. I'm so thankful for this program. I have some amazing friends that I've turned to when all feels there's no one else that will understand or be there. These are true friends. Friends I have longed for. I know I can call any of them at any moment. It's funny, writing this testimony really helped me realize how insane my relationships were just even a decade ago. There's only one cure for codependency, and that's knowing who you are in Christ. Because of Jesus, I am enough. I am secure. I am the salt of the earth. I am cared for. I am seen. I am forgiven. I am free. And I have hope. God is love, and that means I am loved. God is peace, and his peace lives in me. God is enough, and I'm filled with his enoughness. God is who he says he is, and he made me to be his beloved. A dear friend of mine gave me this. I have it in my office, and I read it every single day. I know that when I try to dive into a rabbit hole, I can stand on these promises. Thank you for letting me share.